third time's the charm. I finally got the record button on the first try. Anyways, hey, hi, how's it going? I am the first and maybe last and only, your magnetic host for this little video, Seisalisarisa. If you don't like the name, I don't give a damn. If you don't like my background, I can't blame you. Anyways, so I'm basically here saying that I have a project that I'm trying to do, trying to get it up there, and hopefully people will like it. I put some time into it and everything. It's a book series that I've been working on for I don't know how long. Let's say too long. I want to say what the video is, and I'm looking straight at the script because I only have like a minute to make this introduction video. If you want to see a more in-depth version of what the hell I'm talking about in the first place, there's going to be a longer version video I'm going to place out sometime soon, yada yada yada. It's a book that I'm reading for you because I know people don't like doing that, with pictures, sound effects, and background music. And I'm going to try to do better. If you got ideas to make that better, please. I'm looking for feedback in the first place. That's what this is about, and trying to ease people into it. So there's fluctuating sound qualities. I know that some lines sound louder than other lines. I'm going to fix that up. How fast I read it, I'll try to find a way to slow it down. I kind of have an idea for it. Spacing, paragraphs, and everything, that's going to tie in with the whole how fast I read it thing. I know how to slow it down. It's just time constraints. I only have 15 minutes to make a video in the first place. Annunciation, I'm not good at it, but I'm trying, okay? There's a line at the end somewhere that I completely forgot to record. Whatever, just go past it. Blah, 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 blah. Voice acting, y'all don't care about that. If you do, just let me know. I don't care. I'll try, whatever. So looking for feedback, and like I said, I have a video that kind of explains this a little further. So that's all I wanted to say. Peace. Enjoy the project. If you like it, that's the only way I can get a second chapter is probably if enough people warrant it. I don't know. Whatever. Miles of open water greeted me when awakening to the sun setting fire at the horizon of the sea. As my eyes adjusted to the sunlight bouncing off of the water, I checked my surroundings, hoping to figure out where I was, or even how I got here. The last thing I could recall was me and my sister running. No, escaping. We got separated and then... So you're finally awake? I nearly roll off of the raft when a voice suddenly pops up behind me. I roll back to face the source of the voice and find a young woman with a tattered cloak staring at me. Alongside of her was an old man paddling the drifting raft. Before I can ask what was going on, the two along with the scenery behind them began waving like a giant flag. The distorting image coupled with the rocking of the boat made talking difficult as an unsettling twist in my stomach started to grow. You were unconscious in the streets, said the girl. In the streets? That's right. I was escaping the city during an invasion along with my sister. So if this girl found me in the streets, then she must know about the invasion as well. I tried standing up on my feet when the thought came to me that this girl might know the location of my sister. The rustlings of heavy knots around my wrists, however, started giving me a more devious impression of my being on this boat. I'm aware of those hands of yours. I had to tie you up as a precaution, the girl said. My vision continues to drift in and out when looking at the girl, making the ever-looming uneasiness in my stomach intensify. Aside from my ailment, I understood why else I had such a bad feeling in my gut. My being here was no mere coincidence. If she knew to restrict my palms, then she has to know who I am. This was no doubt a kidnapping. We'll be reaching the old Tungsten Harbor in approximately 15 minutes, said the ferryman. The what harbor? No, this is wrong. The Tungsten Harbor is a port on the Sia region way across the sea from where I remember being last. Not only that, but on a small dinghy like this, it would take days to cross over to that region. Just how long have I been out for? While enduring the twisting sensation in my stomach, I asked why we're heading to the Sia region. Getting an answer when in vain when met with the girl's relentless scowl. I instead asked the ferryman if he'd be able to take us back to the Wasteland region. All I mostly got was mumblings from the old coot, but could make something out about him following an order. With forcing myself off of the floor, my vision begins to blur, followed by a hollow sensation in my head. The rocking of the boat causes me to topple towards the edge of the raft, but my feet eventually plant firmly on the surface. I beg the ferryman once more to take me back. Can't, orders his orders. It is kidnapping, which means that a crime is being conducted. Wherever it is I'm being taken to, we're heading to a harbor, and I can easily report them to the near militia station at Tungsten and be taken back home. You obviously don't understand your situation, girl. I explained what would happen to them once we reached the port and could see the warping remorse written over her face. The crime alone was worth considering, but I'm certain she's more worried about knowing who I am and how deep of a mess she was in. I am a noble of the royal family, son of Lord Knight Baron Eunora and the Oracle of Waystone Cassidy Eunora, Both of my parents hold high status back at Capital, which regardless of where we stop will tack a bounty on your head. Before I could even bat my eyes, the ragged girl leaped in front of me with a piercing blackness strong enough to make the knife she held against my throat seem dull. For the brief moment of staring directly into her gaze, it was almost as if I couldn't feel anything. No nausea, no chains, nothing. I don't give a damn what you are, Eunora. I was told to bring you here during a crisis I had no other way in escaping. Feeling the blade ease off my throat, the girl returns to her seat on the edge of the raft. The sickening sensation comes rushing back as she steps away from me. A weakness in my legs emerged as my vision begins clouding over in whiteness. So bring your status up to me when I'm actually dead, cause right now I don't care. Nothing but miles of open sea around me and a psychotic cutthroat of a wench holding me hostage. What other choice is there with the way I'm feeling? Until we reach Tungsten, keeping my stomach from giving to the rocking waves below is my biggest struggle. 10 minutes until we reach the Tungsten harbor. This ferryman must be completely oblivious. After managing to hold myself together for what felt like weeks of swing on end, we approached a port completely overgrown with plant life. There was a building that read Tungsten Docks, but the place looked far too lost in time. The windows of the small shack were boarded and vines entangled the lonely house from the piers to the doorstep. I asked the ferryman why the port looked as barren as they did, to which he explained was because we were at the old Tungsten Docks, and not the current ones. I'm pulled off of the boat as the girl steps onto the pier when yanking the end of the chain. After the girl hands the ferryman a pouch of coins, our only ride begins setting off towards the sea from back where we came. I tried calling back for the man to return, but the nausea I've been dealing with made short work of my effort, leaving me at the mercy of the girl's hand. So now what? The girl, after hearing my question, echoed out for someone to show. Shortly after, a shadow emerged from the side of the shack. An armor-clad woman with a large weapon sheath on her back thumped her way across the deck. A commanding voice matching her presence welcomed the two of us as Lisa and Nara. It nerved me hearing the girl called by that name, but she was quick to explain that she wasn't my sister. By how cautious they both appeared, it was apparent that neither of them knew who the other person was. Cassidia sent me to bring the boy to a man named Fall, not a woman. Cassidia? What are you talking about? I asked the ragged girl. The armor-clad woman introduced herself as Jen and explained that she would be escorting me to the man named Fall Tribunal. Not that name was common enough to question. The only person by that name I knew was my uncle, my mother's brother, who last I heard was in exile. This unbearable pain in my stomach caused me to collapse onto my knees. Is he alright? Said Jen. He's been out for a few days. He hasn't eaten since whenever he last ate. At the request of the swordswoman, I'm released from my metallic irons wrapped around my wrist. My hand has reached out for me from the escort. Standing has been difficult lately, but thankfully Jen allows me to use her as support when walking to the back of the building. I'm greeted to a foreign cart connected to a horse made entirely of some type of alloy once behind the shack, and a woman claiming to be our driver that introduced herself as Melanie Thatcher, a name that oddly irked me when I heard it. The escort, after checking on my conditions, leaves me to rest inside the structure called a steelback. Even though I just met Jen, I could feel a bit more at ease when around her. Much more so than with what's-her-face at least. If there was one good thing that came from meeting these two, it would be that the psycho chick who brought me here had finished her task and could now leave. I hope you do understand my position, Miss Jen, but I was instructed to bring the boys to Fall. As much as I'd like to leave this to you, I feel an obligation to keep my word. That didn't sound good in any possible way. I respect your commitment. Unfortunately, Fall is not with me. Considering the situation, however, you are very welcome to join us if you would like, Miss... No, this can't seriously be happening. Reika, and thank you. The interior of the cart begins spinning as I watch the young devil of a woman that only moments ago had me chained up hop aboard. A vision starts to fade as I stare at the penetrating gaze coming from the corner of the cart until nothing but blackness showers my sight. I'm awakened by the savory aroma of broth coming from a platter with bread and a bowl of soup next to me. Given the outlandish metallic furniture decorated around the room, I remember something about being in the Ciatos region. It didn't hit me how I got here until hearing a conversation between two women coming from another room. Damn, does this soup smell amazing. After finishing the platter, I exit to the room where a conversation between the girls can be heard. They seem to be talking about the issues going on back home. All I can remember was how sudden the creatures known as the Livid attacked the capital city with almost no warning. With Miracle being a harbor town, some even attacked by sea and others by sky. Since the Living aren't known for such collaborative attacks, it only increases my worries of not being there to help protect it. Eunora, the stern voice of the escort snapped me out of thought. I believe I owe you some explanation on what's going on. I made the mistake in my excitement of sitting on an icy silver chair, causing my spine to stiffen straight, a sensation the escort mistakenly commended as enthusiasm. And beforehand seeing the catastrophe currently undergoing Miracle, the lady has requested for a fall to take you, Otto, and your sister Thesia in for the time being. To which he accepted, but due to his current status has sent me to retrieve you in order to maintain discretion. Although the government sees him as a threat, Lady Cassidy has enough reason to trust in the Exile Files Tribunal aside from family ties, believing due to his evasiveness to be the best place for a noble to hide. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Not only was it thoroughly explained, but I'm somehow left having more questions than I had prior to receiving an answer. So, if my mother knew of the attack, why wouldn't she tell anyone about it? Unfortunately, I cannot tell you much until we reach Capital. To be honest, I'm just as lost on the details as you are, but I know I'm only here to help the two of you, Jen said. It's odd. Had Mom known about an event that would put anyone in danger, she'd have no hesitation in keeping as many people from harm's way as possible instead of letting it get to this point. The more I think about the answers, the more I just end up questioning what the hell's going on. Later that night, Jen left to go check on the driver who was sent out to gather supplies for our trip. Since being glared to death didn't appeal to me, staying in the room alone with the bandit girl was not an option in my book. I decided to go out for some air. Outside of our room was the main lodge of the inn. There wasn't much of a difference in the schematics of the lodge compared to the room. The steel furniture, just as bitter and unwelcoming, managed to make its way under every table and even occupy several of the attendant guests. Just before I exited the lodge, a conversation between two Scythian men caught my attention. One seemed relatively calm, but the other was very passionate about something. How can you be so foolish, Jackoe? Those bumbling idiots are out there doing whatever they please and disrupting the stability of the region. They aren't disrupting the stability. Had the Near not been doing their job properly in the first place, stability wouldn't even be an issue. Quiet, you idiot. Don't you know you can get locked up for supporting the Sapphire Rangers? I said nothing of supporting them, just that their cause is arguably justified. The louder one of the two began cautiously eyeing around the room. The calmer one named Jackoe did the same, but noticed me looking at them. A smile plastered on his face when looking towards my direction, then back to calm the other man down. I hurried out the door after that. Tungsten wasn't the prettiest, but being next to the open sea with the breeze gliding across my face was soothing. The crashing waves have always made me feel relaxed when near them, just not on them. I walked to a bridge looking towards Waysong. It might not be in sight, but it stung knowing so little about what was going on, even more so with the fact that I might not be returning anytime soon. Who's there? Banging footsteps approached me from behind. When I turned around, a scruffy pair of men much larger than I were towering over me. The darkened sky already made it hard to tell who they were, but being covered by a bag blacked out my vision completely. Hoisted over someone's shoulders, I tried to find my way out as much as possible, but to no avail. Now look at that, Evelyn. Of all places to find a noble, we happen to find one all alone at such a late hour. If I could just connect my palms. There's no use. I can't concentrate with how wildly they keep swinging me. I feel like I'm going to be sick. Almost too easy, Granny. Guess we should bring him to those guys that paid us, huh? Just my luck. Some wretched lowlifes looking for a quick buck. A familiar voice stops the two men in their tracks. They mock a woman for trying to stop them, but soon grew quiet. A sudden chill ripples through the bag, cutting the sack apart. When released, I could see a metal horse connected to a gaudy steel carriage, along with the escort standing in front of the unconscious bandits. We need to get moving, said Jen. An unexpected tension carried on the sword-wielding escort's voice. The two of us entered the lodge to get Reika and gather our belongings for the trip. I wanted to ask what was going on, but felt I'd only be answered with more questions, deciding to just follow along with it. Once we regrouped on the steelback, we headed towards the edge of town beyond the bridge. Jen kept looking out of the sides of the car, leading me to do the same. When hitting the trail, I peered into the forest and couldn't help noticing a strange phenomenon. There were tall objects that glistened in the dense forest. Sometimes the objects appeared distant and small, other times near and grand. Why are we leaving so suddenly? Said Reika. With one long final look behind us, Jen relaxed enough to take a seat. I'm certain that she heard the question the bandit girl asked, but for whatever reason remained quiet and unresponsive. In the midst of the night, after an encounter with the two blundering bandits, we left the town of Tungsten and began our trip north towards the Scythian capital city of Alu Noir, the city my uncle had apparently been residing in for all these years.